shooter. This is the second requested video that I've gotten in the last couple of weeks. The first one was the cleaning of a revolver, and that video is already up. I've gone ahead and posted on the YouTube. If you're not following the YouTube channel, go ahead and check out the links. I'll put the comments, or I'll put it in the description below. But let's see if we can do this one in one shot. Not really much into editing videos. But the second request that I got from a follower was he was intending on building an AR pistol and was asking for the pros and cons of 300 Blackout versus 5.56. And I myself have one of each in pistol form. So let's go ahead and start with the 300 Blackout pistol. As you guys can see, I don't know if you can see in there, chamber's empty, hands in there. It's a little bit dirty. Took it to the range last time, but this one's empty. Obviously there's no magazine. Weapons on safe. Setting this one down. Here's the 5.56 version. This is the one that you guys just saw the other day, but as you can see, nothing in there. Chamber's empty. Nothing. Setting the bolt home. This one's on safe as well. So just making sure these weapons are clear so you guys can see visibly. Have a couple of magazines with me. Nothing in the magazine. Nothing in this one either. As you can see, it's the banana yellow Magpul follower. I do have some ammo that I will be discussing and also just kind of doing a little bit of a comparison. But yeah, this follower wanted to know pros and cons of 300 Blackout versus 5.56. A lot of people think that 300 Blackout is kind of useless. Doesn't really have a point to it. But it actually has multiple uses. The first being is a lot of people are like, oh, well, you know, why would you want a 30 caliber gun when you can just get a 308 and use that for whatever you need, or go ahead and buy a 7.62 by 39, which is an AK round. What a lot of people don't realize is, yes, they have similar ballistics, the 300 Blackout and the 7.62 by 39. However, the difference is the AK round was designed specifically around the AK platform. They do have AR platform guns that are chambered in 7.62 by 39. However, they're not, they're not very modular. They're not very convenient to own. You have to have a lot of specific parts for it, magazines, different things inside of the system. It doesn't function, 100% correctly because that round was specifically designed for an AK. So, if you didn't already know, 300 Blackout is basically a chopped down shorter version of a 5.56, and I'll go ahead and bring up the ammo. So this round right here, that's going to be 5.56, and then this round right here, right next to it that I'm holding up, it's 300 Blackout. As you can see, different projectile size, but they use the exact same brass. It's just chopped down a little bit, re-necked to fit a 30 caliber projectile. So I'll go ahead and set these off to the side. So why not just buy an AK for the same ballistics as you can for a 300 Blackout? Well, one of the reasons is 300 Blackout was specifically designed to run suppressed and unsuppressed supersonic and subsonic ammunition without having to make many changes. You can't really run subsonic rounds in 7.62 by 39 Soviet style weapons without running into cycling issues and everything being undergassed and things of that nature. Another thing for 300 Blackout, I'll say one positive is, if you guys noticed, I'll try and hold both of these up at the same time. If you guys notice, this one and this one look almost identical, just different rail systems. These are my hardened arms uppers. They just came out with different style uppers. But pretty much these guns are identical. They both can run standard AR-15 magazines. So 300 Blackout will load into your regular 5.56 magazines without any issues. The only thing that you really have to change between an AR-15 and 5.56 and an AR-15 and 300 Blackout is the barrel and the chamber. The bolt carrier group is the exact same because it runs off the same brass. It's literally from this portion of the gun forward, it's different. It's just a larger barrel or larger diameter barrel. and different chamber. But the bolt carrier group's the exact same. Everything else is the exact same. It can run the exact same magazines. They are not cross compatible, so that means you cannot put a 300 Blackout round in a 5.56 and shoot it. It will literally blow up your gun. And vice versa, a 5.56 is not going to chamber properly inside of a 300 Blackout barrel and chamber. So that is the one thing, they are not cross compatible as such, where some people are like, okay, you can shoot 223 inside of a 5.56, but it's not reversible either. You cannot shoot 5.56 inside of a gun that's chambered in 223 because of the chamber pressures that are slightly off and just minuscule measurements. But yeah, you could also, you know, some people will say go the route of getting a 308. The fact of the matter is, with the 308, you're going to run into having a larger rifle, having a longer barrel to maintain the same accuracy, and overall you're just going to have a heavier gun versus a 300 Blackout, which can run on, I believe, what is it, up to an 8-inch barrel suppressed without any issues. Most suppressor companies will tell you what their size barrel size minimum is in order to run their suppressors and still be covered by their warranty. So you can run this one right here. Both of these are 10.5-inch barrels, so I'm pretty much within the average size of a 300 Blackout pistol size. Same thing for this one. I plan on eventually getting a suppressor down the road, so that's why I went with both of these measurements. Most suppressor companies do not recommend anything smaller than a 10-inch barrel for 5.56 and an 8-inch barrel for 300 Blackout if you try to, or if you want to go the suppressed route. So another caliber that people bring up is, like, they say, well, why don't you run an AR platform with a 6.5 Grendel or, you know, 6.8 SPC? The rounds are going to run roughly around the same amount if you get it, you know, factory loaded ammo. However, the benefit that 300 Blackout has is that you can shoot a bunch of 5.56, pick up your brass, chop it down to size, and reload your own 300 Blackouts, and you've literally purchased ammo once. The only thing you would have to do is buy different projectiles for it, and, you know, depending on what type of powder that round needs, you can go ahead and go that route. Let's see what else. I have a little list here. So another reason not to go with an AK, I know I'm kind of hopping around a little bit here. Another reason not to go with an AK is steel cased ammo for the AK is fairly cheap. However, you can't reload steel cased ammo, or you can, but it's just one of those very difficult things, and it's just costly to try and do. Now, if you try and go and find 7.62 by 39 brass and try and reload it, you're going to be spending way more money than you would if you were just get 5.56 brass from the range, chop it down, convert it to 300 Blackout, and reload that. So the versatility between these two is almost, you know, immeasurable. And to me personally, to my followers specifically that requested this information between 5.56 and 300 Blackout, my recommendation to you, do both. And what I mean by do both is you don't have to run 2 full firearm setups. You can literally just buy a 300 Blackout upper, and some people will say get a designated bolt carrier group for 300 and a designated bolt carrier group for your 5.56. That is not the case. You don't have to. Some people say it's personal preference just to keep that bolt carrier group consistent with the same pressures of that specific round. So overall, like I said, these were hardened arms. I think I paid roughly under $250 for each upper individually, but you can find other uppers for a lot cheaper from different manufacturers. I just like hardened arms. They put out a solid product. I haven't had any issues whatsoever with the 300 Blackout. I haven't shot the 5.56 as I literally just finished building it, was it 2 days ago? But yeah, that's what I mean by do both. Buy one lower for a pistol, or buy one lower, build it into a pistol, buy 2 uppers and 2 bolt carriers, and you're perfectly set. And a charging handle if you want to go that route, where you can just swap out charging handles. Or you could even just swap out the exact same bolt carrier group. It all comes down to what you want, but the versatility is there. The ballistics are different between these two guns, but the versatility of running suppressed and unsuppressed, on a 300 Blackout is literally you can unscrew the barrel, load a different type of round in, or unscrew the suppressor, put supersonic rounds in, and don't have to change anything else on the gas system or anything like that. Whereas 6.8 SPC, 6.5 Grendel, those if you run between supersonic and subsonic and suppressed and unsuppressed, you have to start making adjustments to the gas system, things like that. So AAC designed a 300 Blackout specifically for being able to switch from suppressed to unsuppressed without any issues in the gas system, and supersonic and subsonic without any issues. Most people will run subsonic ammunition suppressed versus running subsonic unsuppressed, because it doesn't really make sense. You start running into cycling issues with your gas system on that regard. But if you're running suppressed, you can run supersonic, subsonic without any changes. But ultimately, they're very versatile and modular platforms. The AK is not very, or AK rounds or 7.62x39 in an AR platform isn't very convenient. You run into a lot of issues, a lot of changes that have to be made based on just different components that don't work very well. A lot of magazines got designed specifically to run a 7.62x39 in an AR platform, whereas the 300 Blackout, similar ballistics, runs your standard magazines without any issues. And I actually went out of my way. I purchased a few Magpul magazines in OD green, and they are designated for my 300 Blackout and 300 Blackout only. That doesn't mean I won't run some of these standard metal mags that I have with a 300 Blackout, but the versatility is there. If you want to run both, you can by simply swapping an upper. You can get even more modular and build an upper receiver that allows you to swap between barrels and just swap out from a 5.56 to 30 caliber or 300 Blackout barrel specifically, and you can keep everything else pretty much the same. I know doing so is a little bit more costly. Sometimes it's just more effective to just buy a separate upper for it. Let's see, what other things do I have here? I mean, ultimately, some people say, hey, it can get pretty expensive to buy 300 Blackout factory ammo. I know when I got this ammo, this was from Freedom Munitions. This is what I used for, this is what I purchased for my 300 Blackout initially. For 5.56, the ammo is fairly cheap. You get 20 rounds for about anywhere between $5 to $7, sometimes up to 10, just depending. But this is just your standard full metal jacket, nothing fancy. Obviously, defense rounds run a little bit more. But again, 300 Blackout, you can convert 5.56 brass, chop it down, re-neck it to 300 Blackout, and buy a bunch of projectiles and reload. Obviously, I'm not encouraging every single person to start reloading 300 Blackout just because you own it. You can find relatively inexpensive ammunition that will cycle well through your gun. But ultimately, for me, I got it because I wanted it to be a specific project. I am going to get into reloading. Majority of my handgun calibers are all 9mm, so I'll be going that route for reloading as well. But I wanted to reload the 300 Blackout because it just has so much versatility between the calibers, or not the calibers, between the projectiles. You can run pretty much any 30 caliber projectile through 300 Blackout from, you know, I have some that are 110 grain. You can go all the way up to 220, 230 grain projectiles and run subsonic. Just the versatility is there for that platform. But if you're looking for a more home defense style thing, ultimately it comes down to what you want to go with. You can build a modular platform and just maintain two uppers, but the options are there. It's entirely up to you guys. If you have any questions or whatever, please let me know. And again, you know, it's a fun thing to build, do on my own on my spare time. But yeah, that's all I got. If you guys have any questions, comments, or anything, go ahead and leave them below. I'll be adding some details to the description. And if you guys would like, I can provide the links for where I got all the parts for these guns as well. I know some of you have seen it around the pages on my page where I posted it. I've also recently just started a Twitter account just because I kind of want to take that Twitter account a little bit more on the political side. There's been a lot of controversy for gun rights, and I'm a big advocate for the Second Amendment and gun rights. And, you know, I kind of want to put up a good fight and, you know, protect my Second Amendment rights. So I'll be doing that on the Twitter side. But if you guys have any other questions or comments or concerns, leave them below. But for now, that's all I got. And yeah.